Good morning. I'm Dr. Neeta Mathur, Associate Professor, Department of English at Sri Gobind Singh Gurjar Government College, Nasirabad, Ajmer. Yesterday, we learned about Francis Bacon, the essayist. Today, we'll take a look at the line-wise explanation of his essay of studies, which is prescribed for the BA Part 1 students in Paper 2. I'll first read the text and then give the explanation of those lines. To begin with, I quote, "Studies serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability," unquote. Francis Bacon means to say that study as an activity in whatever form brings us joy and enhances our thinking, speaking, and writing ability, adding charm to our personality. Quote again, "Their chief use for delight is in privateness and retiring, for ornament is in discourse, and for ability is in the judgment and disposition of business," unquote. Explanation: study is always a private activity which people engage in when they are alone or in the privacy of their homes. It helps them to relax after a strenuous routine, when the body and mind need to slow down, to sharpen our intellect, helping us to judge things soundly. It helps us about our life's business in a more capable way. Quote, "For expert men can execute and perhaps judge of particulars one by one, but the general counsels and the plots and marshalling of affairs come best from those that are learned," unquote. Studies enables the learned man who have studied extensively to critically examine issues and arrive at the right conclusion. They can garner data, facts, and arguments, or against a particular view rationally, they can argue. Such intelligent analysis of facts improves the soundness and quality of their judgment. Quote, "To spend too much time in studies is sloth. To use them too much for ornament is affectation. To make judgment wholly by their rules is the humor of a scholar," unquote. However, this is the explanation, overindulgence in studies leads to undesirable consequences. Setting aside long hours in a day to study will make a man indolent or lazy. Overuse of the wisdom to analyze ordinary commonplace issues may make the man appear pretentious and vainglorious. Sticking too much to rules to assess situations and decide on action may invite derision or ridicule, or they will be mocked at by others. Quote, "They perfect nature and are perfected by experience. For natural abilities are like natural plants that need plant pruning by study, and studies themselves do give forth directions too much at large, except they be bound in by experience," unquote. Studying adds finesse and perfection to human nature. Experiences in life supplement such honing of nature. A person's abilities inherited by birth are raw. Only when they are carefully worked upon and honed means made perfect. The inborn abilities yield the best benefits to us. Studying is the whetstone that we use to sharpen our abilities. Whetstone is a device that is used to sharpen a blade. It's a type of stone. But inferences from study may lead to imprecise and misleading conclusions. In such situations, one's experience in life comes in handy to arrive at the right conclusion. So, the experience is very valuable as it supplements studies. Quote, crafty men condemn studies, simple men admire them, and wise men use them, for they teach not their own use, but that is a wisdom without them and above them, won by observation. Unquote. People who are cunning and deceitful have no appreciation for studies as they accomplish their objective through many crooked ways. Simple folks, that is, simple people, however, greatly value the role of studies in human life. Wise people inherently draw upon the ideas obtained from their studies, solving life's myriad problems. Myriad means countless problems. Quote, read not to contradict and confute, nor to believe and take for granted, nor to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. Unquote. The aim of reading and acquiring knowledge must not be to aggressively refute the other's views or accept the writer's views as gospel truth. Gospel means that which cannot be argued against, that which is asserted truth. It should also not be to engage in pointless discussion and argumentation. Studying should enable us to weigh facts and analyze them rationally. Quote, some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. That is, some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously so, and some few to be read wholly and with diligence, means hard work, and attention, means concentration. Books of varying content and genre are to be made use of differently. Genre means type of writing. Some may be given a cursory reading. Some others can be quickly sifted through. Sifted means just rifled through. A casual look can be given to them. Other important books to be read slowly and minutely, so as to truly fathom the meaning and underlying sense. Some books also may be read by deputy. I quote from this point. Some books may also be read by deputy and extracts made of them by others. But that would be only in the less important arguments and the meaner sort of books. Else, distilled books are like common distilled waters, flashy things. One can ask an assistant to read a book and prepare a short summary of it. But such practice should be followed for obtaining guidance on matters of lesser importance. There are some books which are in fact shortened already. Quote, reading maketh a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. Reading adds perfection to a man's personality. Discussing with others about the contents of a book imparts special practical skills to the reader. Writing removes all the residual weaknesses and ignorance from the person and enables him to remember the contents of a book. Quote, "And therefore, if a man write little, he need have a great memory. If he confer a little, he had need have a present wit. And if he read little, he had need have much cunning, to seem to know that he doth not." Unquote. So writing helps to memorize facts. If a person is bashful, means shy and hesitant, so as not to discuss his reading with others, he will not be able to improve his wit. If he does not read, he will remain a somewhat stupid person. Quote, "Histories make men wise, poets witty, the mathematics subtle, natural philosophy deep, moral grave, logic and rhetoric able to contend." Unquote. Studying history makes man wiser. Studying poetry makes a man wittier. Mathematics gives sound logical sense, and philosophy imparts valuable lessons on morality. Quote, "Ebuent studia in mors." Translated into English, it means, "Studies pass into and influence manners." To continue with the quote, "Nay, there is no stond or impediment in the wit, but may be wrought out by fit studies, like as diseases of the body may have appropriate exercises." Unquote. Wit is a God-given gift. It is present in everybody. However, it can be sharpened by selective studying. This is akin, means similar to, the way certain weaknesses of the human body are cured by appropriate physical exercises. For example, bowling is good for the stone and reins, shooting for the lungs and breast, gentle walking for the stomach, riding, means horse riding, is good for the head and the like, and so on. They cure many ailments. Quote, "So if a man's wit be wandering, let him study the mathematics. For in demonstrations, if his wit be called away never so little, he must begin again." Unquote. This means, if a person is unable to concentrate, he will do well to study mathematics to focus his wavering mind. Wavering means his wandering mind, when someone is not able to concentrate. In mathematics, a slight loss of concentration leads to grave error. This makes the man to start all over again to do it. Thus, studying mathematics restrains the mind from darting off elsewhere. Darting off means going off, running away in different directions. Quote, "If his wit be not apt to distinguish or find differences, let him study the schoolmen, for they are seminisectors, which means splitters of hair, as in Hindi we would say, baal ki khal nikalna." Unquote. If a person does not have the ability to discern, he will be benefited by studying schoolmen, as it trains mental ability and develops the art of expression. Quote again, "If he be apt to beat over matters and to call up one thing to prove and illustrate another, let him study the lawyer's cases. So every defect of the mind may have a special receipt." Which means, If a person is unable to garner facts, garner means gather facts or collect facts, and manipulate them to put across his views convincingly, studying law will help him. Thus, every deficiency of the mind can be addressed by appropriate reading. Thank you.